Previously on The Obscure Show.
Big fat hog!
In my last video, not the microwave fish one, the diner one, I talked about how pop culture is a ping pong ball that bounces from one extreme to the other. From fancy to plain, from lavish to lo-fi, from maximalism to minimalism. But something I should have mentioned is that style is not monolithic. Not everyone in the 90s is dressing in the same mom jeans and plaid shirts, and thank God it's not to be a bitch, but some of you, yes you, cannot pull that look off. So in the 90s, we bounced from minimalist grunge to maximalist Y2K, but it wasn't a sudden gear shift, no. It evolved over time, and in that transitory period, we experienced all sorts of experimental shenanigans. That's the best way I can label that decade. Shenanigans. I mean experimental. And one of the most interesting and short-lived phases of the 90s is an aesthetic that seemed to permeate all of American culture, but I never see anyone talk about or put a label to. After careful deliberation, I decided to call this aesthetic Vegas sleaze. What does that mean? Well, call me Lucy because I got some explaining to do.
Now that alternative music has found a permanent home on the charts and the airwaves, will a new style of music emerge and claim alternative's former underground status?
To understand the sensory cornucopia that is the mid-90s, we have to understand how things got that way. 1. Cocaine. 2. Recession. Easy. But to flesh it out a little, the 80s had been a time of lavish maximalism, but it was also a regressive era of heteronormative pastel puke family sitcoms. Ugh, fuck this color palette. On the flip side, the 80s also brought about the wubiously whimsical Memphis design. I love this. It's dumb and it's fun. It's hot and it's ready. It's designed when it doesn't take itself so damn seriously. By the time the 90s came about, young people had grown disenfranchised with the superficiality of pop culture, rejected conservative TV idealism, and embraced more alternative media. Music, movies, books, chairs. The lingering influence of Memphis design carried on through the decade, and bold patterns, bright colors, and geometric shapes remained a motif to elicit a carefree attitude. But the secret word of the early 90s was grunge. You can trace the origins of grunge back to 1985 with bands like Green River, The Melvins, and Soundgarden. But it didn't become lamestream until the video for Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit premiered on MTV in 1991. I'm gonna tell my kids this was High School Musical. Wait, I don't have kids. Well, whatever, never mind. We're not here to talk about grunge. We're here to talk about what happened after grunge fell out of style. Yeah, that's right, the anti-fashion went out of fashion.
So there's going to be an alternative to the alternative, which will be like sub-alternative, but not quite alternative enough to be accepted commercially, which I don't... What did I just say?
I don't know.
By 1995, the people were ready to dress up again. The preppy look that sprung out of this wasn't for everyone, but it wasn't far off from what would come next. For inspiration, pop culture would look towards the neon sunset of the West.
Las Vegas is like a giant kaleidoscope, constantly changing and growing. It pulsates with new sights and sounds.
Ever since Nevada legalized gambling in the 1930s, Las Vegas has built a reputation as a playground of debauchery, an adult paradise, a real city on the plain. Investments by mobsters and that guy who collected his own pee made Vegas not only a destination, but a financial opportunity. Large firms and corporations started pouring money into the casinos and hotels in the 1980s, culminating in the first mega resort in 1989. Mega resort, that's when a bunch of little resorts come together and form a giant rope. And great timing, guys, because Las Vegas began to see diminishing returns in the 90s. I guess investing in Vegas property was a real gamble. More like lost wages. Craps! City managers noticed something. People got these dumb son of a bitch children that get in the way of gambling and drinking all night. Visitors can't stay all weekend because they have to fly back home and take care of the little ones. If only they would bring the children with them instead, but who in their right mind is going to bring their kids to Sin City? Thus, the city of Las Vegas began a rebranding campaign to market the strip as family-friendly. A lot of casino owners hated this. Others embraced it. There had been prior attempts to incorporate child attractions on the strip, such as the gaudy Fever Dream, Circus Circus, and the ever-popular Wet n Wild. Does not sound child-friendly, but sounds like last week at the bachelor party. But the effort this time would include big, fabulous attractions like the MGM Grand Adventures, the Excalibur Hotel, the Luxor Dark Ride, and the Grand Slam Canyon, which featured rides like the Canyon Blaster and the Twist and Shout and Rim Runner, which all sound like last week at the bachelor party. Even though the family-friendly era was a financial... success is a strong word, but there was an upswing in revenue, a lot of the Vegas regulars hated it, and they began to romanticize old Vegas, classic Vegas, catch chlamydia and mortgage your house Vegas. You see, Las Vegas has this kind of aura about it. And it's not just the neon and air pollution. When you roam the casinos, you're expected to dress up a bit, and a lot of image-minded patrons want to show off their wealth, or at least want to give off the illusion of wealth. So a lot of the fashion was glitzy, flashy, but most importantly, fun. You're in this stupid place to have fun, right? And that fashion sensibility began to span outward because it wasn't Las Vegas itself where the Vegas sleaze aesthetic took hold. It was with those regular visitors, many of whom lived in Los Angeles and imported the look back to their own city. But what exactly is this mysterious aesthetic?
Leisure suits, go-go boots, feathered hat, fat gat, hippie chick, bachelor's dirt, disco diva, Gucci shirt.
Vegas sleaze is a loose definition containing a multitude of styles and trends, but I think you'll see that they all link together, one way or another. Mid-90s saw garments in what I can only think of as synthetic core, sequins, metallic, and pleather, really giving walking the strip vibes.
Thanks, I bought it at Versace.
And let's not forget about animal print. Animal print is traditionally expensive since it would have been made from, exotic animals. So if you're Ara farming wealth, what better material to flaunt than the skin of an endangered species? Of course, all these designer garments of the 90s were just printed fabric, but they still alluded to the world of decadent casino nightlife. A hint of danger in your otherwise boring pencil skirt. Men's shirts came in bold patterns like Hawaiian or Paisley, and most popular, the ever-versatile bowling shirt. Probably inspired by the cult hit The Big Lebowski. There really is no sport that captures the spirit of the 90s more than bowling. Just chillin', drinking beer with your buds, handling your balls or whatever. And the bowling shirt is such a garment of the time. You can wear it with jeans, chinos, under a blazer. You can be my Chandler or my Kramer. Women's hair began to get shorter, mostly thanks to the Rachel cut, which was a reversal of the big teased hair of the 80s. In terms of Vegas sleaze, bobs gained traction, most notably after the release of Pulp Fiction, a movie that just oozes sleaze and nostalgia. It wasn't just the clothing. Two major subcultures arose in this time frame, and they were exuberant and low-key kind of annoying.
Baby, baby, it looks like it's gonna hail.
Oh yeah, we all remember that Gap ad, but the swing dance revival actually started around 1989, with the formation of bands like Royal Crown Revue and Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Ooh, that's fun to say. Swing swung into popularity in Los Angeles, particularly amongst the Latin communities, which I can imagine were experimenting with identity at the time, and swing has a long history with Mexican Americans. Okay, so, back in the 1940s, African-American jazzgoers started wearing an oversized, flashy ensemble referred to as the zoot suit. The trend made its way west and was adopted by the Pachucos, Chicano counterculturalists who rejected white normalcy. But the zoot suit became associated with drugs, violence, and adult situations, and Mexicans became a scapegoat for everything wrong in the country. What else has changed? And thus, anti-Mexican sentiment led to many zoot suit riots. And that's where that comes from. Getting back to the 90s, the swing revival picked up popularity over the decades thanks to movies like The Mask, whose titular character wears a zoot suit and a fedora, and features Royal Crown Revue, as well as Swingers in 1996, which features a swag dance scene between Jon Favreau and Heather Graham set to Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. Who would have thought this guy would have gone on to be an architect in the biggest movie franchise of all time? Swingers not only brought swing into the spotlight, but captures the whole Vegas sleaze aesthetic. The clothes, the cars, the dingy diners, the over-the-top confidence. And notice that, when they go to Vegas,
Vegas, baby!
It's not the glitzy mega resorts that they go to, but the decrepit Stardust Casino, a representation of old Vegas. Not safe for kids Vegas. Last week at the bachelor party Vegas. For that, you gotta look money.
Baby, you are so money and you don't even know it.
I heard myself saying that, I'm not very money. Other bands saw success with this scene, including Squirrel Nut Zippers, the Brian Setzer Orchestra, and Cherry Poppin' Daddies, which was a very embarrassing thing to call and request from their radio station at the age of 12. Hi, I'd like to request the Cherry Poppin' Daddies. You know what that means, right, kid? I know it has nothing to do with ice cream. Okay, speaking of Squirrel Nut Zippers, tangent time. In the late 90s, I remember listening to Planet Radio in North Florida, and some redneck dude called in and requested That There Dalmatian song. And the DJ was like, oh, you mean Jane's Addiction Been Caught Stealing, which has a dog barking at the beginning? And the caller was like, no, the song where the guy spells out Dalmatian. That memory lives in the Vatican archive in my mind. It's not going anywhere. Never change, Jacksonville. Never change. At the same time as swing, the world was witnessing the revival of ska. This has less to do with the aesthetic I invented, but I do want to mention it because it involves a lot of the same fashion and sounds of swing, the same crowd, the same attitude, punk with brass, Real Big Fish, the Mighty Mighty Bosstones, and Less Than Jake, just to name a few. There are so many analyses as to why these genres came back in style, but I think it comes down to people wanting to have fun again. Why be cynical when we can be dumb and happy? The economy was doing fine. We were investing in the World Wide Web. How could we lose? To further cement my establishment of the Vegas sleaze aesthetic, I could analyze a movie, and there were plenty. Leaving Las Vegas, Showgirls, Austin Powers, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and even Mars Attacks. Ooh, how about Mystery Men? Remember that shit? I could even look at music videos. The Way by Fastball, My Own Worst Enemy by Lit, and especially Walking on the Sun by Smash Mouth, which is a send-up of the 60s revival of the time. But this being the obscure show, I want to highlight something I've not seen anyone else talk about. Levi's in the 90s was not doing well. The market was just too oversaturated with high-end denim and designer labels. To stay relevant, Levi's commissioned a new ad campaign through their agency, Foot Cone & Belding, which sounds like an MTV series that Nickelodeon passed on. The agency created not one, but 6 interlocking TV spots and hired Tarsim Singh to direct. In 1997, the first ad premiered during an NFL game, titled Impala Man. The commercial opens on a cowboy-looking dude driving a Chevy Impala stuffed with carnival plushies. Oh, this dude would have loved Squishmallows. Impala Man arrives at a roadhouse full of the usual roughnecks, but instead of a bar band, there's house DJ Marcus. So you got a cowboy collecting plushies and a DJ mixing in a hick bar. And they seem to be friends.
Looks like one of us had a big night.
Huge. This is the idea behind the ad campaign. All these different types of people are united by their preference of wearing Levi's denim. The Impala Man brags about his wins and offers DJ Marcus one of his prizes for his trip. DJ Marcus gets on a bus, and next we see the Plushosaurus now in the hands of another rider. We can assume they hit it off. And we see the tagline for the whole campaign, They Go On. The commercial ends with what I can only describe as a post-credit stinger where a woman orders a plain hot dog and insists on it being plain.
Plain, she likes it plain.
The first time seeing any of these commercials, you couldn't help but be struck by the bizarre storytelling. It all feels like a dream or an unfinished cartoon. And what's with that ending? Was that related? The commercial stays in your mind longer because you can't quite wrap your head around the oddball narrative. Well, a few weeks later, commercial number 2 premiered. This one titled Car Chase. We start with the bus girl carrying the plush and see the hot dog woman like it's a 5-second story recap. Very efficient storytelling. She gets the plain hot dog and we discover that it's actually for a dog.
I got something for you.
Then there's this interesting transition straight out of Pulp Fiction. And now we're following this cab driver who witnesses a thief stealing a moped. An undercover cop jumps in the taxi and a chase ensues. Very 70s cop show because remember, the nostalgia loop made the 70s popular. Ends up the cab driver is a fan of Kolchak and they end up in a wild ride before skidding past this rad older lady, and the commercial ends. Part 3, Ice Cream Man picks up with the old lady walking to an underground club where the Vegas sleaze aesthetic is on full display, and DJ Marcus is there. And so is British writer Quentin Crisp for some reason.
So what do you think, Quentin? An intriguing mix.
An old man walks to a... ew. And then we cut to a cluster of kids around an ice cream truck.
Who's Jack Kerouac?
On the road.
This particular ice cream man makes the kids answer hipster trivia before rewarding their knowledge.
Who's Birdland named after?
Charlie Zucker.
I like this. You gotta prove you ain't a square if you want to bite that Choco Taco. We then see some people pushing a car all the way to a gas station where Bodie Elfman is on the phone complaining about not getting a hotel.
Some kind of no musician policy?
If you think that's a wild cameo, Part 4, titled Bag Boy Fantasy, reveals that the musician he's talking about is none other than Lenny Kravitz.
I found him a place to change.
What? On the other end of the line is Kravitz's manager, who is in line at a grocery store, where the bag boy is eavesdropping on their argument.
Bodie, you've got Lenny Kravitz in a gas station bathroom.
And begins fantasizing about being Lenny Kravitz. The manager, meanwhile, fantasizes about being a simple bag boy. I love this Muzak version of Are You Gonna Go My Way?
Can I carry this to your car?
And we cut to a car dealership.
So, want to take this baby for a spin?
I like the way some of these transitions aren't just visual but auditory, really taking full advantage of the medium. We pick up in Part 5, Test Drive Date, which starts with...
Can I carry this to your car?
This was actually the first of these commercials I saw back in 1996, and you can imagine how confounded I was. The commercial starts with a line of dialogue from some guy we never see again, and then we're at a car lot and then a test drive. Really adds to the whole disjointed dream quality of the whole thing. Like, if you missed out on the other commercials, you have no idea what's going on at the beginning.
It's like a plush couch.
The driver stops and picks up her boyfriend, who seems confused about the situation.
So who's the guy in the back?
That's just Randy.
Hey, how you doing?
This is such mid-2000s quirky behavior, something Juno would do. Truly ahead of its time.
Hi.
Hi, too.
3.
Don't give me that judgmental look. Like you've never brought your car salesman along on a date? And this diner is swag as hell. The curtains, the booths, the waitress uniform. Maybe not these gendered bathrooms, which is where the commercial ends. And the finale, Car Wash, picks up with this girl confused over the chicken bathroom signs. Huh, accidental gender-neutral bathrooms, I guess. I love this place. Funny enough, a person walks out, but we can't determine their gender. Take that, binary. Then some bloke knocks over some coffee cups and everyone starts clapping. Now, as an American kid watching this, I was always confused because I didn't know this was like a British thing to do, to clap when someone drops stuff. We don't do that, we just start shooting. The clapping transitions to the clapping in Car Wash by Rolls Royce. And we witness this Y2K dude drive his denim interior AMC Gremlin through a car wash. With the windows down, of course. Hence the goggles. When he emerges, he hits the brakes to avoid hitting the Impala Man. And the whole commercial is gone full circle. With its loose storytelling and dynamic, colorful style, you can see why these commercials were a hit and won numerous ad awards. Really a product of its time, obviously being inspired by Pulp Fiction and Lounge Revival. And as I stated, it plays with that Vegas sleaze aesthetic to make Levi's look like the hot item of the summer. But did it work? No. Levi's jeans dropped in sales that year. You see, they had avoided advertising a single product in favor of pouring everything into their image, a thing Sprite had told its customers to ignore.
When you're thirsty, trust your gut, not some actor.
Should have obeyed your thirst, Levi's. Apparently, the campaign failed so hard that the company dropped Foot, Cone, and Belding, who they'd been in business with for nearly a century. And that's a shame, because I genuinely like these commercials. As much as any sane person can like the brainwashing black magic that is mass marketing. But I do enjoy the characters, like Impala Man and DJ Marcus, who I always thought could be like the stars of some spin-off movie or show. Well, guess what? Such a thing apparently existed. While researching this subject, I came across an archived article that described a denim soap opera funded by Levi's that brought together the 6 commercials and expanded on them with some returning faces, including Impala Man and DJ Marcus. No word on if Quentin Crisp was there. These were posted on NBC.com to promote the Snap web portal. Oh no, watch out, Lycos, you got competition. The web series or web soap opera or whatever it was did have an innovative feature for 1999. 2 characters named Zach and Chloe would interact with fans via the message board, merging the television world and the digital world. Also, one article claims that Chloe was played by Laura Prepon, but citation needed. I tried finding these videos, but they don't seem to be archived anywhere, meaning they are lost Oh, hold on. Meaning they are lost media. They could be anywhere. Hiding under your bed, waiting to grab your ankle. Boo! It's lost media. Or they're somewhere on YouTube, but I just didn't search hard enough. I don't know.
At the Attic Vintage Clothing Store in Las Vegas, the only thing that's out of style is using American Express. So bring your Visa card.
It's not like Las Vegas ever went out of style, but its prevalence in the culture dwindled around the time of, let's say 2000, with the release of the Flintstones and Viva Rock Vegas. A real boner killer of a movie. Yabba dabba, do not fuck with this. The final death blow to the Vegas sleaze aesthetic occurred in 2001, when everything changed. I'm talking, of course, about Ocean's 11. It made Vegas look classy, getting rid of the sleaze and the kish. Also, by this time, Vegas had shifted away from its attempt at a family-friendly image and embraced its origin of decadence. By 2003, the city was using the slogan, "What happens here stays here." So visitors weren't nostalgic for Vegas because old Vegas was back, baby, and look at real money. And the Vegas aesthetic was history. Well, not really, but here's the thing. Any sort of Vegas aesthetic of the 90s was not really documented, nor was it ever really talked about, because aesthetics as you and I call them didn't really exist back then. There were subcultures, trends, and fashion movements, but microcosms of style that defined commodified visual movements weren't a thing until Pinterest and Tumblr allowed users to label taxonomies of complementary styles, forming the notion of an internet aesthetic. The term aesthetic before social media usually referred to the philosophical study of beauty, a subject that exists purely in the eye of the beholder, which gets a little complicated because the beholder has many eyes.
I am cringe, hear me roar.
People living through those times wouldn't have thought that there was some unifying aesthetic that joined synthetic skirts, animal print, neon, gambling, swing, ska, and glitzy kitsch together, but in retrospect, we can't appreciate how all those elements played and influenced each other, and influenced other aesthetics and micro-trends. I'll be honest, I don't even know if Vegas sleaze is the right name for it, but I've already saved my Pinterest board with that and I don't feel like changing it. Thanks for watching! Don't forget to hit all the lovely buttons down there, you might get a jackpot. And don't forget to subscribe so I can further terrorize your algorithm. Ever been to Vegas? Put it in the comments. Wait, no, don't. Because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Obey your thirst.